What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 8 of the Dudeality podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, as always, joined by Jonathan Mercado, Victor Rivera, and Chris Zora. We're 4 ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. Jonathan.
Yo, what's up? How y'all doing, man?
I'm good, man.
Good.
I survived. We survived.
Snowpocalypse
God dang.
2021. It was nuts.
Yeah, what a crazy week.
No,
Bro.
for sure, man. How'd y'all doing today? Today was a blessing.
Dude, it was
It
crazy.
was a beautiful day.
It was a nice day. It was a nice day. It's like nature was like, all right, my bad. I went a little too long on the, on the code. Here you go. Have a nice day.
Yeah, I spent the whole day driving, so I couldn't enjoy the day.
How long was the drive? Where'd you go? Well, go ahead and let everyone know where you went.
All right, so this weekend I went to Arkansas for a wedding up in Fayetteville, and driving out there it probably took us about a little over nine and a half hours. On the way back, we got there in like about 8 hours, maybe 8.5.
Man, it was a long
Yeah.
trip.
During a blizzard, during the tail end of the blizzard.
Well,
right?
so
You caught the
yes,
ice.
we'll see. We left on Friday, and there's a couple slick spots here and there, but
Yeah, that's how I drive.
overall it wasn't too bad. It was actually more dry than I expected it to. You saw a lot of snow on the sides of the road, but man, it seemed like just leaving to from Friday, then coming back today. It's like I went in from winter into spring. Like there was nothing, there's no snow out when I got back. It was a weird feeling. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, how about y'all, man?
Shoot, today, man, I just cleaned the house, man. We're just still like cleaning, a lot of pick me up. Like this week, you doing nothing, right? We were for those that are listening that are not in Texas, man, we're froze over. In other words, like plain and simple, froze over. Energy freaking shut down. People lost running water. Luckily, I didn't lose electricity and water. I was blessed to not lose anything. But we're just at home though. You can't go outside. It's like 9 degrees outside. It's snow everywhere. And it's you're just at home and you're not really doing much. So it was sort of like, okay, let's get a first start, clean the house, get this, get that. I went to the grocery store, got some stuff that we could get. And because the grocery store, if y'all have been lately, but it's nothing, bro. It's like completely deserted.
I didn't even want to try, man.
I made sure to buy some extra water bottles when I was in Arkansas because I knew it would be a lot harder to find them out here.
I'm sorry, Ian. What's up, my man? How'd y'all do back there?
We were blessed, dude. What was crazy is we lost power the Thursday and Friday before the bad stuff actually hit. So I was annoyed by that, but I just kept praying. I'm like, you got a plan. I'm gonna follow it. And sure enough, I think that was a blessing in disguise because our stuff went down. So they were repairing everything on our spot of the grid so that it sustained power, at least for my neighborhood throughout the whole ice storm. So I was able to offer aid to Steph's family. That was in Hutto. Because Hutto did not have power from like Sunday and some point.
They went through a real crisis.
That
I
was
feel bad over the Hutto
7
folks,
days
man.
of no power, no water, freezing temperatures.
Like when the grid people were we're like Round Rock, Hutto. We're turning off Hutto. We're turning off Hutto.
We're gonna turn off Hutto. Who do we want to turn off?
I know, like me and my
Let's turn off
coworkers were
Hutto.
talking about, like, of course they didn't do it to Lakeway or Westlake or any of the affluent cities or like neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. So, like, luckily for me, like I was actually able to go into work and I got some power, like I got some warmth from that. But my wife stuck it out the whole time in the house.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how she did it. She did it.
Man, I took a nugget from Winston Churchill, and immediately I understood what was happening in the moment. And I love to extract lessons from everything. So, COVID, Yeah, I wasted an opportunity. With every crisis comes a good opportunity, right? So Winston Churchill says, don't ever waste a good crisis. And so immediately when things were shutting down, I went into, man, what can I do so when this is over, I can come out ahead? Like, what can I do so I can come out ahead? And so some things in my life I procrastinate on because there are things I don't want to do really, but there are things that are needed. And if I would have done them maybe during business hours or during normal work weeks, it would have like literally destroyed my entire day. And so like doing your taxes, I went ahead and knocked out the taxes. I went ahead and got another certification in nutrition. And I went ahead and learned how to meditate, how to calm myself during these times. And I didn't learn how to meditate. I'm learning how to meditate, but I went into it like immediately knowing, how can I come out of this stronger? Now, let me be grateful for the opportunities that this crisis did put in, because it allowed humanity to come out and be like, all the great people and the good things that people were doing for each other. It was good to see when if we were reminded that majority of us, without the tools and electronics, that we could still live off the basics, and just
Absolutely.
with people we can live, and people we can come together, and to see that and like vibe off that. And I went undercover, man. I went undercover and I just boom, I poured into myself, because knowing when we got out of it, it was going to be a good thing. So that way I can give back more as soon as we got out. And so it was just a blessing in disguise, as always, always looking at the cup half full. And so, man, it was good to just see humanity come together and do that. It was nice.
Yeah, and then to borrow that, to like piggy off that, like I met some new people. Like, when you go to the stores, you go places, you just don't talk to no one really. You just kind of in your own world, your own business. But like, it made you reach out to other people. It made you like reach out to your neighbor, to someone. I was in line, like I went to the stores twice, and I was in line, and like the line was like super long to pay. So you're just there, and the
About a
person,
mile long. Let them
yeah.
know how long
So
the line is.
like, dude, I was in line for like an hour to pay, but like you start talking to other people, like, hey man, how you doing? Like, hey, so we started talking, you get to know people's backgrounds and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Let them know what they're going through, and just kind of just saying positive. Like everything was positive. Like no one was like, oh, I hate this. Everyone was just like very positive, like very positive on their mindset as far as the outlook of what was going on. So that was pretty cool.
Now let's go ahead and head to this next topic. And this is where you guys get an opportunity to see, diving a little bit deeper into our lives. And I wanted to go on the topic of, have any of you guys ever been fired, or have you ever quit? Like, yeah,
Ooh, I got it.
Got
it. So that's kind of the reason why I'm in Texas. I was a store manager for Radio Shack. If I remember Radio Shack, right? It's a little store. You buy your little electronics and stuff like that. It was like the Best Buy before Best Buy. If you wanted electronics, you went to Radio Shack. That's what you went to. So I was a manager. I was working there for like 5-6 years. I was a manager there, but I had an employee that was stealing, and I caught him stealing, but I let my relationship emotion get in the way. I thought was my friend, right?
Yeah.
I knew his family, knew his kids. It was like, it's like it was on a y'all, you know what I'm saying? But I caught him stealing from the store. So I did the mistake of not reporting it, but I told him, I need you to return this. Like, you got like a day to return this. And he didn't return it. He kept like procrastinating, like, oh, and stuff like that. He threw me a story. And then when he did that, that's when I reported it to my upper up. And then he had to report it to loss prevention. Investigation started, and we caught him stealing again. And that was it. Like for him, like we fired him, but because of that, because I let it slide, I didn't report it right away. That got me fired. So man, it was crazy. It was crazy because like my boss was like, I don't want to fire you, but he like they're telling me like, you know, he was like really emotional. Like I would say too, I was sad. Like I was like, damn, I was the only one working. Like Liz didn't work. She was staying at home with my son at the time. He was like 3 or 4 years old. We're going through really hard times. It was like probably like one of my time in my life was I was at the bottom because like I lost my job. We were living in LA. LA is super expensive. I was living in not even a studio. It's like it's literally the size of this garage. There is a kitchen in the corner. There was a bathroom on the other side, and that was our bed. That was it, you know. And then I lost my job. Like luckily, it was I had some money that I was able to save, and then and I was getting back the deposit from leaving the lease on that place I was at because it's pretty much in good condition. And then I used that money as a restarting here in
What a
Round Rock.
blessing in disguise, my man.
Yeah. So
Got fired.
bro, I would say
Have you ever been fired before? Or was that the only time?
That was the only time.
What about Chris and Ian? Y'all been fired before? Or have you ever just like quit on a high note, like something like off The Office and just
out? I brought mine up on a previous podcast, but I was let go from Apple. But that one kind of sucked. I don't know. I felt.
Were you like a temp or it was permanent?
That's pretty much what it was. I was temp, so I got hired on through like a temp agency, and I mean I've always been a hard worker, but in my opinion I was not prepared well, and I had a mentor who you could just tell she didn't care for me, so she found every reason to nitpick and give bad notes, and then I got let go, and I got let go literally a week before Steph and I were to move into our very first apartment together. So I lost my lid.
Damn.
Yeah.
Is that the only time?
Yeah. I mean,
Chris.
I've quit, but
Chris doesn't look like he get fired. He doesn't look like the guy that would just get fired.
He's like, you didn't fire me. I quit.
No, I've never quit anything. Never been fired. The one thing was actually more of a favor than anything was one of my bosses laid me off so I can get unemployment while I was doing my clinicals for my MRI program, because I was putting in 45, 50 hours a week during that and still going to class on Saturdays. So I was putting in about 60 hours a week just for school. So my boss was nice enough to lay me off so I can get unemployment, so I could still get a little bit of cash while I was in school, while I was finishing that up.
Nice.
But it's because I had a good work ethic and she liked me and she wanted to show her appreciation, which I'm grateful for.
There you go. Wow. I got fired before off some stupid stuff. Kid stuff. French fries. I was young. My first job was working at like an HEB. It was called United in Lubbock. All right, so it was a local grocery store. I started off as a sacker, worked my way into the dairy, and man, I worked there for a good year and a half. That was pretty long for a kid, right? I think I was 15 minimum, like bare minimum to work there. And me and my homies all worked there. It was like, hey, like the four of us, like if we had a 8 to 5 hourly job, I don't think I would get much done, right? I'd be bullshitting all day long with y'all fools. And that's exactly what we did. And so they kind of didn't like us together type deal. And they were looking for us the way out. But we never really did anything bad, right? We still got our work done, but we did it foolishly. We still did the work. And so they're like, ugh. Well, anyways, it was Valentine's Day. It wasn't Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day was coming up. And they prepared the schedule and they had all the homies working on Valentine's Day. And we specifically asked off on Valentine's Day, all the homies. And we're like, you ain't getting me on Valentine's Day. I'm going to call in. He's like, bet I'm going to call in. And we know we all called in. And well, we basically didn't show up. And we were at the mall. We called in sick. Yeah, we called in sick. Stupid, right? On Valentine's Day, knowing that we did not want to work that day. We went to the mall and we somebody end up seeing us at the mall and told our boss. And so the next day we go into the office And it was me and the homie. It was funny. We were like, hey, we're gonna have to let you guys go. You called in. We saw you at the mall type deal. An employee saw you at the mall. We're gonna have to let you go. And then my homie said the funniest thing. He's like, but my mom got cancer, or somebody, my grandma got cancer.
Oh, wow.
I was
That's
looking at
terrible,
this,
man.
I like this, but like, he's like, my grandma had cancer, and so I was getting her a present. I was like, oh. She's like, well, I'm
Wow.
sorry. I mean, you still did not show up, and you know, we got to let you go. It was so funny though.
He had that prepared too.
No, he was like, hey, my grandma got cancer. I was like,
Oh my God, that's crazy.
A sob story. What an ass.
All right, man. Enough foolishness. Victor, what do we have in store today?
Yo, what's going on, family? Hey, today, man, I got a good one for you guys. Everyone listening. Last month we did kind of an episode on Kobe Bryant. So we decided to do every month to kind of do a spotlight on a celebrity or someone kind of high profile that really inspires us, or really kind of can show us the way when it comes to where we want to be, right? Everyone
kind of
here
paved the path.
Yeah. So everyone here is about personal development, personal growth, generational wealth, right? Building a legacy, right?
Doing the impossible.
Yeah, so we're doing all about that. So today we're going to focus on really discussing about our spotlight. Today's Will Smith. So if y'all know Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith, that's who we're going to be spotlighting today. And today, really, he's like an inspiration to a lot of folks. I don't know if y'all visit his YouTube channel. It is fire. It is fire. He's gone viral so many different times. With as far as motivating inspiration, really letting everyone into his mind, his world, not only him, but like his whole family. Like Jada Pinkett got something going on Red Table Talk. Like, yeah, they're making waves as a family, right? Not only just Will Smith, but making waves as a family. But we wanted to kind of go back. Like, obviously, he wasn't like that, like that he is now, right? He went through a growth. He went through some development to get to where he is. But to understand that, we want to kind of go back and see, like, how did he get there? What's that process was, that growth? And I was looking into all this stuff about it, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit. But I want to let you guys know, like, for you, what was the first time that, like, Will Smith, like the celebrity or the person, came into like your vision, your line of sight? Like, what was your first time you got introduced to like Will Smith, the person?
I'm thinking.
I think for me was he'd already been in the game for a while, but I was born in 90. So I think like 97, 98, the first, was it Men in Black 1?
Men in Black?
The first time that I remember seing him. I didn't watch Bad Boys because that was like rated R, and my parents didn't watch it. But yeah, Men in Black was like the first probably spot I saw Will Smith. And then the older I got, then I actually went backwards, and then I looked into his music with him and DJ, was Jazzy J.
Jazzy
Jeff. And then
Jeff.
There you go. And then the Fresh Prince of, obviously, Bel-Air, the show.
How about y'all, Jonathan, Chris?
Yeah, for me it was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was the first thing that I saw him in. But again, like Ian, like Men in Black was huge. Like I was a fan of most of his movies. Wild Wild West, like Independence Day, like Bad Boys 2 was one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I mean, but like as a kid, I mean, pretty much any movie he was in, like I liked. So like as I got older, I kind of stopped following him a little bit, to be honest. But I mean, for a while he was like the biggest actor around, making minimum of 20 million a year, like a movie.
He was making, I mean, he still makes money, but yeah.
For me, it was Bad Boys what attracted to him and made me notice him and started following him because of this movie. It wasn't his music, it wasn't into his music, and it wasn't Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It was, and you guys can probably guess what attracted me to Bad Boys. his character was what?
Yeah, it was the persona.
It was the
muscles.
the dog, the driver, the muscle, the
Ladies
romance, the
man.
ladies man. It was everything that I kind of looked up to, and I was like, man, this dude, I want to be like that when I grow up, right? And so after that, of course, I just started following all his movies, and I even follow him to this day, and got to see him evolve into the person he is today. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little today, is just the evolution that we have to continue to grow.
Yeah, and a good thing you brought that up, because evolution is pretty much what, like, all through his life he had to do. So if you guys don't really know, but like Will Smith's background, like he comes from a blue collar family. Like his mom was like an administrator, like in like education. His dad was like from the Navy, an engineer.
Yeah, a refrigerator engineer or something like that. Yeah.
So he's had his own business. So he didn't come from like a poor family or anything like that. Like Will Smith actually went to like a private Catholic school. He went to like a private school. This dude was smart, like intellectually super smart, like book smart. Like he said he got his, like when he took the SATs, he got a pretty high score enough to where he can like go to any school he wanted. Like he was that smart. He was in like an MIT program, like while he was in high school. I was like,
yeah,
like that blew me away. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah,
like,
I had no idea he was that smart. Like, I was reading that too.
But like, let's just think about like when he was growing up in his teens, he fell in love with like the hip hop scene. Like he fell in love with all that, and he set his mind to like, this is what I want to do for like my rest of my life. This is it. Like for me at that time, it was like, I want to be a rapper, right? I want to be a rapper. So he said he went to his parents and he told them, this is like, he's graduating high school, should be going to college, right? This is that time right here.
Well, let them know he got accepted to any college that he could want to go to.
Yeah.
Accepted anywhere.
Yeah. And so he told his parents like, hey, I want to be a rapper. I don't want to go to college. What do you think was his parents' reaction?
Shock, bro. It's blue collar, man. You disrupting what we put in place for you.
First thing parents says, like, are you crazy? You're going to throw your future away. This is what they said. If you want to succeed, you need to go to college, have a good education. So that's what his parents' reaction. Like, how many out there think your parents would have the same kind of like mindset? If he came to them and saying, hey, I want to be a singer, I want to be a rapper, I want to be an actor, I want to drop what I'm doing and follow X, Y, Z. If he had that potential to be like, go to college, paid off, super smart, and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, my parents would not allow. They'd be, no, you're going to school. You're going to school. They'd force me into school. That's for sure.
I think it's just that blue collar mindset, right? You're given an opportunity that majority of the people aren't given. Because I don't come from blue collar. I come from poor, and so college wasn't even talked about. So when I didn't go to college, it was just another kid not going to college. It's no big deal. Oh, you're not going to college? Oh, okay, cool.
For me, it was different. For me, it was the pressure. I'm a first generation immigrant, right? My parents came to this country. I'm a first generation here. So it was pressure for me, and a lot of what we call now like dreamers. You call them dreamers, right? Because they're the first generation after their parents here. Is that you have pressure to live and live out that American dream. Like I brought you here to go to school, get an education, get a better life than I did, right? That's the mentality from like my culture, people coming right to this country here. So my parents would have been like, you crazy. It's the kind of same reaction, right? No, you got to go to school. And I'm not going to boast or anything, but I'm a smart dude. Like when it comes to like studying or like college, school, it was not hard for me. It wasn't hard. There are other things that were hard, and that's why I had a kid. But anyway, just stay away from the ladies. I'm just kidding. But one lady in particular.
Good fix. I just saw the correction.
Yeah. But my parents knew my potential is what my point was trying to be. And I'm sure Will Smith's parents saw his potential, his intelligence, like he was probably their shining star. I don't know the rest of the siblings, but but anyway, but he pushed to where he got his parents to agree to a 1-year deal, saying you got 1 year to make it. Imagine if your parents told you that same thing. Would you be like, oh, 1 year is not enough, or like, I don't know, I need more time than that, and like he just say you have 1 year to make it. Wilson is like, bet. That's crazy.
That
Look at
mindset, though,
bro.
that mindset came from the blue collar father who was very disciplined, army style, where you complete the mission or you die, right? So talk about that, because not everybody was brought up that way, right? You know, nowadays I feel like we've gotten soft as a society in general, where your kids, they didn't complete it, or it's just like a little bit nonchalant. You know, we let a lot of things slide, and so back in the day there was no slide. Like there was disciplinary action taking, you know, in places. And so his mindset was shaped that way because of the way he was brought up with that mind. And he'll even tell you, it's super important that everybody knows, because everybody thinks that drivers, and Will Smith wasn't a driver. He wasn't born a driver.
No.
Everybody thinks that you have to be a driver to be successful. And that's just not the case. We just all have to evolve with what we have, right? You're given the cards you're dealt with. And Will Smith is a very emotional child. Like you can just speak to him. He said he would just cry and break down. Like he didn't need to get a spanking because he was just always so emotional. And his father built that applied that pressure mentally to toughen him up. And so now when he made that decision where you have 1 year, it's like, okay, I got 1 year to complete the mission, right? It's game on.
And that's what I took from that is like, dude, like so many people, and me included, because I always like that, and it still is a habit that we got to break. Like you procrastinate on what you want, on your dreams. Like you have all the resources, all the talents, all the skills, and if you don't have the skills and resources to develop a skill, right? But I think more now than today, than back then. But today, there's no reason why you should just like there's no reason that's hindering you to really go for it, right? So, and I think, and with Will, I think I would have the same reactions as Will. As you gave me a year, I'm like, okay, it's like you challenged me to do something you don't think I can do or you don't even agree with, but you gave me a year. All right. So when somebody challenges me, I feel like it brings the best out of me. And
now, were you challenged as a kid though? Like, so I love dissecting it.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's like that. Because if you challenge somebody, it could turn them off, right? You put a date on it, they'll go into a shell, they'll break down,
and that's what I want to bring to, like, and I don't know what Ian and Chris think about this, but I think you have a moment in time where you have to decide what you want, and then also you have to decide, like, for example, I'm either gonna leak into the fear, the pressure, of like, I don't know if I can do this. I want it, but I'm kind of like little hesitation, or like, okay, I know I'm scared. I know I could fail or whatever, but you know what? I'm gonna shoot my shot, right? I'm gonna do my best, right? Because I believe in what I can do. I really want this, right? So for me, I kind of like you were saying, like you see the example of your parents, how they work, right? And stuff like that, adversity and all those things. I think the environment has a lot to do with how you respond to things in life. But I think also it's something that there's two voices inside of you. You decide which you want to listen to when it comes to like fight or flight type of thing. Like you have a moment, a split second to decide, not a split second, but in things like big decisions like this, you do have time to analyze, right? And be like, okay, what am I going to do? For me, it's always been, I can do this. If I put my put my all in it, I can succeed. So what do you guys think about that?
I think it's through repetitions. So
Okay.
it wasn't just that one moment for Will Smith. His dad always prepped him for this moment.
Okay.
He taught him through completion. So it wasn't just all like, oh, this is that one time where I have to make a decision where I'm either going to fail or going to succeed, because his father, as growing up, always put him in that position. Always. So when that big opportunity came, it was another repetition. So he was more confident. Like, for example, me, I'm more confident to take the last shot. I'm more confident to take the bigger jump. It's not because I was born with the gift. It was because I've done a lot of repetitions over the years. And so I'm less fearful to make that leap. And I'm more game on, because that's how I was brought up. Let's game on.
So Jonathan said, hey, I put in my reps.
Through repetitions,
or,
right? It's not
yeah.
it's nothing inside of you. It's through reps.
Okay. Hey, that's one. All right.
I mean, I get the reps, but it's also personality based. Like, my dad was hard as hell on me. And I think based off your personality, I wasn't army in a sense, but he was strict. Like, this is how it's going to go. It's black and white. There's no gray space. So definitely it made me have tough skin in it, like on the outside, but on the inside, I could still put those reps in. And from I guess a skill perspective, that last shot, I know I can hit, but the self-doubt that I've developed over time based off of the pressure, I doubt my skill in that specific time. So it just depends on how I wake up for the day, right? Some days I'm like, my chest is extra big and puffy, I'm taking that shot, and other days I'm doubting the simplest things of like, am I even tying my shoes right?
That could still relate to personality. So once again, personality. He was very not driver. He was very reserved type personality, but he put the reps into taking that last shot. Like, you were very hesitant, so you may have not took that last shot. I mean, sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't. Where he grew up, where it was the last shot type mindset. That's the matter of the personality, right? You could have been very soft, you could have been very high, but because those reps over years, over hours, over each execution, I feel like that's why he was capable to have that game on mentality, right? No matter the personality, you're just more confident when you've done it plenty of times.
Yeah, I think it's truth to it. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I kind of feel like the same way as Ian. Like, at least as growing up, like, if I was given that opportunity at 18 years old, I don't know if I would have been able to do it, to be completely honest. But I mean, as I've gotten older and I've put myself in tougher situations throughout these years, like Jonathan said, repetition does help, and that's what builds you. But yeah, at that point in my life, there's no way
I would have taken the same.
I would have done it. Yeah, yeah.
And different people is different. Like I said, again, like I definitely relate, right, to like the preparation, the things you do kind of build you up to something. But you need to still make a decision. Like, you need to decide. You can have all the reps in the world, you can be prepared, right? You can do all the work, but if you don't make a decision, if you don't decide to actually take that leap, then all that preparedness, all that preps is for nothing, right? So this is where I'm coming to with you guys, is you got to seize the opportunity, knowing that your moment has come. Like, you have to do that. Like, you have to know and seize the moment, right? Because it can pass you. I'm probably like quoting, what's his name? Eminem, that song. But hey, no copyrights. I'm not want to mess with that. But you gotta know that you gotta make a decision, right? And that's what I'm getting at. It's like, yeah, you definitely have to be prepared. You gotta know, you gotta build your confidence, right? I'm not gonna go into something without doing my research, practicing, knowing and stuff like that, getting my reps in to really, bam, go with it. But you have to first decide, right? Overcome what is holding you back to even getting prepared, even putting the reps in, right? The feel of failure, the feeling of self-doubt, ridicule, right? What other people are going to say? What my parents going to say? What my friends, what my wife's going to say? Like, you know, or have that passive mindset to where like, oh, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, you know, type of thing. So you have to decide on what you want and go all out on that if you feel that passionate about.
I want to challenge it a little bit.
Okay.
I got this from Eric Thomas. All right. I got this from Eric Thomas
because
without the preparation, opportunities are all around you, but because you're not prepared, you don't see them.
But did you just
not aware?
Did you decide to get prepared?
That's true. Yeah. So
that's what I'm getting at.
I like it. So make that decision.
That's what I'm getting at. It's
and
like,
for a lot of people, but for a lot of people, I think that making that decision is,
that's how I see
it. Without the confidence, it's kind of, for some people, it's hard to make that decision. They have to build themselves up before they can make that kind of decision, like depending on what it is, but you do need to make a decision at some point. And
that's what I'm getting. Like I said, all you guys were like, I think touching a lot of like really great points, and it's like no right, wrong, or anything like that. But that's what I took from it. Like when I put myself in Will Smith's shoes, like I literally said, man, if like you got to make a choice, right? So I'm gonna tell you a little quick story. And I don't know. I'm gonna get to a good story. So when, and I think, and Jay might relate a little bit because we both had kids really young age. But I had when I had my wife pregnant, at the time she was my girlfriend, but I was 18, I was 17 actually, she was 16, 15, around there. And so my parents didn't like my wife at all, like didn't like her at all. So when that happened and I told them, hey, I'm gonna have a baby with Elizabeth, it was like hell broke loose. So they gave me a decision to make. You either go out, leave the house, do what you gotta do, but you're not bringing anything in here. So you gotta decide. I decided there. Yeah, there was a little reps in my mind saying, you know what, I can hold my own. I've done X, Y, Z, right up to this 17 years of life. But I still was into an unknown to like, I still didn't know what life was about paying bills, paying a rent. Like I didn't know none of that stuff still, like how hard it was gonna be because it was tough. But I decided, all right, cool. Got my backpack. The only thing I packed that day was my uniform for work, in my Bible, and I left.
And yeah, being in tough circumstances can also push you to grow a lot faster too. So like, yeah, I couldn't imagine being in that position. But
there's science to that.
Yeah.
They were talking about, all right, for whatever goal you have that you're struggling with, okay? Say I want to lose 25 pounds in 3 months, right? You always struggled with this goal, but they said if you change the circumstance, somebody put a gun to your head and said you need to lose 25 pounds in 3 months, your mind will start thinking way differently, way more creative, and you will come up with more resources to get the job done. So it's awesome that you said that, Chris, because there's literally science behind it.
So this is, and I think as you bring this up, it's kind of, I was thinking, it was like, man, like if everyone obviously has different personalities, right? We talk about that, right? Different personalities, different upbringings kind of shape how you act, how do you react to things, and how you make decisions. But if everyone, like you just said, put yourself, if you want anything you want to accomplish, your goal, your dream house, whatever you want, right? Let's say, if you put yourself in that mode of I have 1 year, or that limitation or that pressure, right, where your environment changes, right, to where like you have to, like from Eric Thomas, you got to want this like you want to breathe type of thing, right? If you put yourself into that mode, I think people will get things more done. And like I said, I put myself in that mode. Like when I'm saying this, I'm telling myself the same thing on things that I want to accomplish.
So I think here's the pivotal thing with Will Smith. And I think this is what you mean by make a decision, because that's pretty, It was pretty bland as make a decision. I was confused on what decision to like go through music or what was the decision. And you said you got to make that decision, right? Well, for anybody listening, that decision is not what career path you're going to do for the rest of your life, because people don't know that you're going to do a lot of things and you're going to change your mind a lot, and that's to be expected. But the decision I think that you're speaking about is the decision to believe that you can. I don't know who said it, but you have to believe in yourself. Those who think they can and those who think they can't are both right. And I think that's the decision that Victor is speaking about. And to unwind and re-engineer everything you were taught, you got to go back into self-discovery mode and really build upon yourself to give yourself that confidence to actually believe you can. Because there's a lot of points where before I did self-development, there's some things that I didn't believe that I could, right? But I was confident because I always put myself in that position. But when I started self-development, it just took it to all like 10 times. It took 10 times because it really showed me that you literally can do anything you can. And you have to believe that. And if you don't believe that, then you're right too.
Yeah, and to that, like I said, is make that decision to, like, you have a goal, right? So you got to make the decision to, if you don't have the confidence, go ahead, go like, Jonathan's route. He read books, like, we're reading books now, as far as us four, but it's like, read books, personal development, get that confidence, get that reps, and at least decide, right? And then you can like, okay, now my next step is whatever it's going to be to, take you to your goal. So that's what I took from like that, just that moment in his life was that. And then, and then just moving forward, he meets Jazzy Jeff, right? At the spots, right? At the hip hop rap scene and stuff like that. And this is the story right there, is that also, it's like another moment where he had to jump in
again,
right? Yeah. He DJing, stuff like that. Jazzy Jeff's there. There was a hype man that was supposed to come. He was late or not showing up. And then he already knew Will.
Give me that mic.
Will was like, I'll do it. And then like, imagine that moment. Jazzy Jeff's like, you never done this before, man. Like, no, I got this. Right. So bam. And then like he takes off, like the crowd's into it. He's doing his thing. He's doing it right there. And dude, they went into win like Grammys together, right? Hit singles and stuff like that. But then he hits a little fork, not a fork, a little bump in the road, man.
A big bump, bro. That
would
destroy you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got all this money. And I think everyone will act like, dude, if I was 18, 19, 20 years old, man,
he made his first million before he was 20.
Yeah.
So anybody listening, you have $1 million before you're even 20 years old.
So you got all this money raining, like you're like living, you're like, oh, you can buy anything pretty much. Like you're 18. Man, what would you guys do with your like millions of dollars at 18 years old?
5 different Lambos, 5 different colors, and a big house.
I'm not even. I got jewelry on me, bro. I got shoes for every other hour. It's at that age, that's what you think, right? You want to look fly, you want like flaunt it and stuff like that. You feeling yourself really
went
well.
to a dark place, man.
Let's not go there. But yeah, so he's living the life, spending money left and right, but he forgot about Uncle Sam. So IRS came after his butt, man.
He was rich and famous and well, not rich anymore, but he was famous and broke.
IRS took everything, wage garnishments. So he tells the story of like, imagine like being famous and broke is like the worst thing possible because you're riding in the bus and people asking if you could have your autograph. He tells that. So he came in like in the low point to where like he was like he didn't want to do anything. He was like, well, I'm done type of thing. Luckily
can we backtrack a little bit though?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because don't want to forget, like, so hit that first album with Jazzy Jeff, like we're saying, got a lot of accolades. You won a Grammy and all that. But then their second album was a flop.
Yeah, the second was
and then that's when you start. I mean, because he was still spending the money, even though like that second album didn't do well, and that's when he got in trouble with the IRS. And then also with his first wife, the divorce that he ended up having to pay $900,000 plus $24,000 a month in alimony.
The moral of that personal story, as far as stay married, brothers. Just kidding. Take half your stuff. I'm just kidding, ladies. I'm kidding. But no. But I wanted to get to is like he lost all his money. Like he was up this high, he was up this low. A lot of people can be like, man, I failed, I messed up. That's it. It's gone, right?
Success is never linear. Like everybody needs to remember that.
Yeah. So, but from that, like it's funny because that situation led him to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the show. Like, so he was down, and then, you know, he told the story that his girlfriend at the time was like, hey, you got to do something. You can't be around here. Go do something. Like, go put yourself in the scene with folks, you know, in that Hollywood scene or whatever to get your career back up. So they gave him an idea of going to the Arsenio show. So he books that show in the Arsenio. From there, that went good, right? He's in that show. He meets a producer, right? And that producer leads him into Quincy Jones. They're trying to get this idea, this rolling of a TV show, right? So he puts himself in that situation there. He auditions, he knocks it out. There's a cool story about that audition. You guys should look it up. It's on YouTube and stuff. He tells it. And then he, bam, Fresh Prince, he's back, right? Takes off like a rocket, all right? So, but I want to talk about failure, right? How about failure is just an opportunity, right, for growth and evolution, right? So one of the things that Will Smith says, there's a whole, it's actually, this went viral, right? He says, the video says, be comfortable with failure, like seek failure because it's part of success, right? Jonathan just said it. Success is never linear. It's never like, boop, it's like, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam again. But you still have
it's like
that,
the stock market. It just just keeps going up
which
and down.
Which drives me crazy, Chris. It drives me crazy, bro.
I know.
But again, failure is where the lessons are, right? That's where the growth is. Successful people fail a lot. Agree or disagree?
Agree 1000%, man.
And there's another thing that he says, it was crazy. He's like, failure helps you identify the areas where you need to evolve. Don't miss the opportunity to fail in the process of evolution. I was like, damn, that's crazy. He says, fail early, fail often, fail forward. So that's crazy. Like, to me, that was like, dude, I was pumped up listening to Will Smith, like doing like all his research about, you know, his mindset and stuff. And, but like I said, like if he didn't fail that he did, right. And then he bounced back, he did something, he didn't stay stagnant. That led him to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So a failure can lead to another opportunity to evolve, to do different. He never got into acting because he never thought himself as an actor before then.
So he seized the opportunity again, got out of his comfort zone, did something that he's never done before, but did it anyway. Just did it anyway because he understood the value of failure. Failure needs to be sought, right? The faster you get through these failures, you're one step closer to get into that success, right? They are necessary to get to the success that you need to be. Like you have to fail to learn, extract those lessons, and then now apply them to get to the next step. And I think that's the biggest miss is when we fail, we don't ever extract the message or the lessons, right? We just get ourselves down.
But don't go into something wanting to fail at that thing. Let's be clear.
Well, you don't want, you obviously want to succeed. That's the goal.
I'm just joking. I'm just messing around.
But if you do fail, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just think that it's super important. It's something that I'm now raising my kids to is I don't give a F about failure. Like I really don't. As long as we learn from it, I actually want you to apply. And if you fail, great. Like I am promoting you. It's okay to fail because those are necessary for you to get stronger, to get better. And so I think that's what stops most people from their goals because they have this fear of failing, right? It's a mindset. That's how we are brought up. But if you are able to re-engineer it or have Will be your father, that's how they are growing up. It's like, oh, okay, failure is not bad. Failure is actually a great thing if you
That's so hard
extract
to
the
learn.
lessons from it.
It's so hard to learn too, though. It's hard to teach, but it's also hard to learn. Like if I would have, I mean, even now as a 30-year-old man, there's still certain things where I don't do strictly out of fear of failing. Because if I fail as a sole provider for my home, everybody here has to feel behind me. And if I would have taught myself at a younger age to get beyond that, I feel like there's a lot of things I would have done differently in my 20s and acted a certain way, or you know, put money or just life in general. Like I'm obviously, I love where my life is at now, but just the mindset, that's a small little tweak could change. And the fear that I have now would not exist, like because I would have that money somewhere else and I would have something to fall back on instead of having that fear that I would fail my family, if that made any sense at
And
all.
and I think everyone has it. Like I feel, I mean, I feel the same as far as like, man, I wish I had this mindset when I was like freaking 18 years old, 20 years old. Like, you know, like everyone I think here will agree, like, man, if I was in this 10, 30, 15 years ago, man, I wish. But, you know, for those listening, like it don't matter where you're at that moment in time, how old you are or whatever, the past. That's one thing you also gotta know. You gotta let it go. Like you can't change the past, right? Hakuna Matata, you know what I'm saying? Lion King, Nuggets. You can't change the past. You can, the present is a gift, right? And then you shape your future. So, you know, yeah, you're like, oh, I wish I could. But then now, what are you going to do now, right? Now that you have analyzed, you kind of know, okay, I have this, right, opportunity. I'm scared to do X, Y, Z, but I know if I do X, Y, Z, there's a potential that it's going to bring opportunities for my family. It's going to be opportunities for myself, for my kids, for my kids' kids, right? And there's always a chance of failure, but like we're kind of discussing here is like, don't be afraid to fail. Expect to fail if you want to succeed is kind of what we're saying. And if when you do fail, hey, it's okay. What happened, right? What happened in the formula of what we were doing? And then, hey, let's find that weak link on that action or execution or whatever occurred. And hey, let's keep moving forward.
And I just want to say, it's like, it's okay to fail as long as you're putting the effort into it. Like if you're not putting effort into it and you're failing, I can't say that that's okay, because you're not going to get anywhere if you don't apply yourself. It's okay if you put all your effort into something and it didn't work out, then it's okay. But if you're just half-assing it and you really didn't do what you need to do, or even attempt to do it, like half of what you needed to do, then at that point you can't say that failure is
You have to
okay.
analyze your failures, right? Like you have to analyze your failures and look at ways to improve. But I do want to clarify, because maybe sometimes it thinks like the greats, they don't have any fears, like they're fearless, and that's not the case. Everyone has fears. Elon Musk, I just listened to an interview. They're like, so are you just fearless? He's all like, oh no. He's like, I would.
Oh,
He's like, I feel fear. He's like, I wish I didn't feel it as much. He's like, but it's there. He's like, and the higher the stakes, like the more like his stuff is on the line. He's like, that's the bigger fear that I have. But also, I've learned to take that fear and drive me harder.
Right. Yeah. Like, and I think the lesson from what you just said is like, hey, harness your fear, right? Anything, right? Like fear, I would say it's a good example. Is like, it's not like you don't have fear, like there's like no fearless people. I think you quoted the movie that Will Smith was on when his son, After Earth, when he talks about fear, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't watch that movie.
Oh, somebody said it. That was you, Ian. Yeah. Right. So you got to harness fear, like, or things that self-doubt, things like that. You got to know how to like kind of like tame it, right? You're not going to take it completely away or disintegrate it type of thing.
You have to understand it.
You
have to understand it. And that's important, is you have to understand the moment you're in. You have to know the moment that you're in, right? It's so hard because when we are in these moments, we can't think, but you have to breathe and understand, okay, I feel it. what can I do? Like when I experienced that we're in a mini crisis, I was like, last time we were in COVID, I just let that thing ride out. I did nothing, right? But I harnessed that moment. I was like, you have to learn how to be in the present moment so you can make a better decision.
Definitely,
Yeah.
man.
One little point I wanted to, I guess, throw on failure, and then I think a lot of us have failure because we try and compare ourselves too much to what's around us. And then the more you compare yourself and you see where someone else is at, and you just beat yourself up and you compare, and you're constantly pushing yourself down, you lose, regardless of the amount of reps that you've put in, you make yourself lose confidence in yourself. So that fear, which could help drive you, essentially is crushing even more, because you're trying to look at someone else's picture when in reality, to Jonathan's point, you have to look at the here and now for your own picture so you can paint it and make it look the way you want it to. That's just something that I've kind of learned and thought about.
I think that's a piece of truth. I was actually listening to a speech by Jay-Z. It kind of taps into that a little bit, to where he pretty much says that it's like, I'm not really looking to be anyone else. I'm looking to be me. I'm soft spoken. I'm this. I'm that. But I'm definitely gonna come in that room with my personality, letting you know that I'm here, right? So, and that was crazy. That's kind of another topic, but kind of what you're saying is like, don't look at anyone else. So you can be successful your own way, but again, don't tap into your fear. Don't let it control you. Know the words, right? Bounce back. It's part of the process when it comes to that. But anyway, Will Smith took off from there. Fresh Prince. He made movie success after movie success. Made a bunch of more music by himself, and again, but man, he started having kids, man, family. I think he has 3 kids in total. Previous relationship, 4. And then was it 4?
No, I think it's 3.
Oh,
it's 3,
My
right?
bad.
It's like, yeah.
I was counting.
I just got yours.
I got 4 kids.
Yeah, me and you, bro. But on our way to a basketball team, 5-on-5. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but one of the things that intrigued me though from today is that he was trying to build his family into like a little empire. And then it's kind of funny because he had to evolve as a father as well. So not only do you have to, I think for me, is evolve like from a financial literacy standpoint to how you relate, how your relationship is with money and how you view certain things, right? Material things, in a financial sense, right? But also on a personal level, you have to evolve. This is what got me to here, as that he was building his empire. His kid, Jaden, right, was in movies, right? He got him in really early on. Pursuit of Happiness, Karate Kid.
You got all his kids involved into Hollywood.
Yeah,
early on.
His daughter got signed up by Rock Nation with JC. Whip My Hair, I remember that song, Whip My Hair back and forth or whatever, right? But he was putting so much pressure on these kids. Like back to Jonathan's point, he was treating them like his military dad. Like, okay, I'm the leader. I'm the captain, whatever, sergeant.
He put his expectations on them.
Yeah. So, and then he talks about how he was like putting this pressure, and then his wife too, like he wanted to, like he had this vision and like doing, like he was putting like himself, like saying, right, onto his kids, his family, to where, but it was really selfish. He just wanted it for him. He kept saying, oh no, I'm doing it for you. But it was like, no, you're doing it for you, So he says in 2012, like his family, like created like a little mutiny. Like they all went like, no, we don't want to do this anymore. We don't want to do what you're telling us to do.
Yeah.
So he had to evolve into something. He said he read 50 books like in 4 years, and he didn't do any movies for 2 years. So he went into like deep mode into like personal development.
He went into game on again, right? So here's a challenge.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be better than my dad. Just like I want to be the best movie star, I want to be the best rapper, I want to be, now it's time to shift gears. Is I have a family, I need to get better for them.
So now his thinking was now, and he talks about it, is more of like, I'm going to position you to build your best version of you, not the version that I want you to be, but I'm still gonna like guide you and instruct you to build like your own legacy within our legacy, right? So one of the things I talked about this weekend with like Ian and Jonathan, because we hanged out a little bit, was like every generation has an opportunity to really set the next one better. All right. I think my parents set me a little better than what they went, and then vice versa, right? Their parents set them, a little bit better. But for me, and I think for like Will Smith, I think he just built like a whole, like he changed his legacy for his family, not only from a wealth standpoint, but also from like a personal level, to where like Jonathan now, right? You mentioned that how your mindset a little changed as far as how you relate to your sons.
Oh, there was an evolution to my mindset from all of my kids, right? Yeah. Jeremiah got the early on, you're going to grind it no matter what type mindset. And he was able to see me shift to, I am going to nourish you. I am going to extract these lessons for you, but this is your life. I'm not going to push my sportness, athleticism onto you, because that's what I did. And if he wasn't great, we'd put more work in, and it was never him wanting to do it, right? And I noticed there was some separation. So I started reading books, and self-development just in general caused that evolution to, and I kind of got it a little bit from Will Smith, and his parenting style switched. And it's called, I don't know what it's called, but here's the concept, is gardener and garden concept. Did y'all hear about that one?
I don't think I did. I think he mentions it, but I was reading on something. He mentions the author, that he met the author.
The gardener plants the seed, and the seed already knows what it wants to be. Now, the gardener doesn't tell the seed what you need to be. He is just going to nourish it, develop it, take care of it, love it, teach the lessons for it to grow and sprout, but it's ultimately their life and their decisions, right? He's not going to tell the seed that's a rose to be a daisy. I want you to be a daisy. I want you to have, I want you to be yellow, right? Because that's how he was putting his expectation on his kids. I want you to be the next biggest, Hollywood star, because he was. So he's putting his expectations. I want you to do what I did, but better. And that's what we fall into, right? Like generations. I want you to do what I did, but better.
Yeah. And I think for like, I think realization of the evolution, right, is that you got to nurture like your kids to build that legacy, not only help them from a financial standpoint. I think everyone here wants to like build that generational wealth, right? That's one aspect. But I think that intrigued me the most from Will is that like, yeah, he was giving him that, he was like pressuring them to do what he did even better, like you said. But again, he was ignoring that, hey, they're all different seeds, different type of flowers. They can succeed just as good as Will Smith, but in their own way. Like now you see Jada, Ray Table Talk, success. That's her. That is all her baby. All right. That's her baby right there. Jaden has this company called Just Water. It's really just he's really just talking about how to get a fair balance on human consumption, and stuff like that, balancing nature and stuff like that, how to improve on that. So, because that's something that Jaden's passionate about. All right. So instead of him telling you got to be an actor, now he's like, okay, what do you want to do? All right, let me support you on that. Let's go full ham on that. Right. Let me help you. Let me bring you my knowledge or what I know from building
principles of execution. Yeah. Jada said it best. You taught my kids how to hunt.
Yeah.
And once you teach your kids how to hunt, they are now capable to go hunt what they want to hunt, right? You gave them the tools to go out in the world and go hunt. Now you can't tell them to go hunt a chicken. That is up to them what they want to hunt, but you gave them the foundational principles of success of going out to hunt. You applied that pressure of those lessons throughout the early years, right? and now it's up to them to go and hunt. All right. So he set
Yeah.
them up.
So for me, what I got from it is not only changing like the financial legacy of your family, but also breaking generational chains that you carry on from your parents, grandparents. Like you got to break certain things in your family that is going to, if you don't like break those, they can't hold you back from the success you actually want, right? Or what you really want to see. So that's kind of what I got from it, from that standpoint. So I want to just kind of leave you kind of with that thought there. But man, I never thought Will Smith was like this deep on like as far as like his life and stuff like that. So it's really crazy and very interesting. I'm glad we actually chose like him as the spotlight, because there's so many things that we all can like learn from. And like we always say, right? There's no one is reinventing the wheel. Just got to follow what the greats already have done, like learn from their footsteps and just kind of apply it to yourself. And again, and to help
Every
you on your path.
person we speak about, or every great, they all have similar blueprints. They all have similar principles. So coming from Kobe, there's very similar principles. Coming from Will Smith, there's very similar principles. And the next person we talk about. So if we know there's very similar principles and you want to be great in your life, then why don't you go out and apply these principles? Why don't you go out and dig? And I just wanted to make one tangible thing. If anybody's listening, Victor just alluded to Will Smith, changing directions and being great, changing a direction and being great. And same thing with Kobe Bryant, where he really didn't change directions. Well, actually he did. He went into business. He wanted to be great. But the bottom line is they had to dig deep and research into this area. They became obsessed with an area and did everything they possibly could to be great at that area and executed.
Yeah, and Will Smith, I think he put it as like he has like a sickening like a work ethic, like he just can't turn it off.
And what does Kobe
And
call
he
that?
can't go to sleep. Right? Yeah, Mamba mentality.
Like they
but
all have that obsession over one particular thing, and they zone in, no distractions. I'm going to complete this to completion. And so they're giving us the blueprint. Man, I don't know what else to tell you guys, but go out and do the exact same thing in your own way.
Yep, go out there and again, research these principles, guys. That if you're listening, whatever you want to accomplish in your life, whatever it is, right, that you're passionate about, that you really want in life, like learn from these great people. They have the principles, they have the blueprint. Follow it, and you'll get to where you want to get to for sure. So I'm gonna kind of swing it back to Mr. Ian here. We're gonna wrap it up.
It was good info. Yeah, no, Will Smith was that dude. Like I didn't know all the info that I learned about him this week, but it's nuts. I always knew he was great, but you learned that he was great. But what y'all got for the week, Jonathan? What you got, man?
Well, if y'all didn't know, well, we of course you guys know, but anybody listening, me and Chris here are in our first buy and hold investment property, and we will be speaking about it, talking about our journey. But we finally just hit another milestone. We got approved for our first loan.
Yeah, well, we had our pre-approval.
Pre-approval, there it is. We got approved for our pre-approval, and so the pre-approval is 90 days. So now there's a stamp. Now things are real. This week we should be getting in contact with the broker. Right, we do everything I can to make sure we get that meeting with the broker, and then 90 days, guys.
That is crazy. Nice. Congrats, man. Congrats.
And if anybody is wondering what kind of what real estate investment we are and the strategy we are doing, it's called the BRRRR method. You're going to buy, you're going to rehab, you are going to rent, refinance, and then repeat. The formula. Look it up if you're curious.
It's getting real. Nice.
No, man. It's great, man.
Vic, what you got for the week, man?
Man, we're back out at franchise Camp Gladiator. We're back outside. The forced what is it? Hibernation is over. So we gotta go back and execute on being outside. Got a couple things kind of in mind to really go back into it. So just gotta put it kind of write it out, timeline as far as we want to do, as far as getting our business rolling, getting prepared for the big stuff coming up, and just continue to read my book, man.
We'll come to the end of the month. How y'all doing?
I'm a little behind, like always, but I'm getting it done.
Yeah, I'm about 3/4 done. I should be done this week.
Yeah, I'll be able to finish this week too.
Man, you went on a car trip. I take
Yes.
on the road trip. I finished 2 books on the road.
See, but I don't have the audio, so I don't have audio.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, for this week for me, before I even get into what I'm going to do this week, there's one thing I wanted to highlight for Will Smith. Is like, I had no idea that he's the only actor out there that has had 8 consecutive $100 million grossing movies domestically and 11 back-to-back $150 million grossing movies internationally, which is that's insane. But
I never saw a bad Will Smith movie, really.
Wild Wild West.
Wild West was pretty bad, bro. Like,
I mean, as a kid, like, you enjoyed it.
I liked it, but
I would say compared, yes. I wasn't like I saw it. It was entertaining because it was funny, a little funny, right? But it wasn't like
hit out of the song.
Yeah,
that was bigger than
Wild Wild West.
Y'all know he passed on the Matrix for that movie.
Yeah,
bro, I saw that. No,
he failed there.
But I will tell you this: I can't like Neo is Keanu Reeves, and Keanu Reeves is Neo.
That's true. I couldn't see Will Smith or Neo as anybody else other than Keanu Reeves, because Keanu Reeves acts like
about Will Smith is, of all of his accomplishments, I respect and admire the most about the way he goes about parenting.
Yeah, for sure. I think as parents, I think I definitely agree with that.
And if you're curious on how he goes about parenting, there's a red table that was on June 20th, I believe, or 21st in 2019 or 2020. Just YouTube it. It's Fatherhood with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, and they dive deep on how Will's evolution of parenting went. And if anybody's out there who's looking just for one quick tip on how to be a better parent, it's to self-assess. And how do you self-assess is you would ask your kids, or even your wife. You can apply it to any area in your life, right? How can I be better father or mother to you? And you'll be surprised on what sometimes your kids may say. And so it's our duty to make sure that we're filling up their love tanks just as well. And so I did it. Yeah. I've done it before previously. It's been a while since I've done it. I've done it this past week. And it was like, man, Jeremiah gave me that same one. I was like, oof.
I had a similar conversation like that, a little one, where I asked my son, like, hey, be honest with me, like this. And then he tells me, like, all right. I said, I apologize. And like my wife said, I apologize too. And like, it's crazy.
Ask them, even ask your wife. Ask like anything you want to improve on, just ask them. Yeah.
Don't be afraid of the answer though. You can't combat it
a little
though.
Bit. It's a hard pill to swallow. I was like,
yeah.
Ugh.
No, you know what? Forget that. I'm gonna whoop your ass. Come here.
That's like my parents' mentality.
But Dad, nope. Wow. Okay. But all right. Well, good stuff, boys. Yeah, for the week for me, I'm gonna be completely honest. I've slacked the past like week, 2 weeks, just when it comes to like crunch time and when the whole state shuts down. My mind works different. I'm a provider, so I just zoned in on making sure everything here was in check. And even though I knew it was in check, my mind just kept me going. It kept me moving. So my book, I'd listened a little bit. Working out, I've fallen off. So this week I'm restarting yet again. But yeah, we trip, we fall. Just make sure you get back up and keep going. But I want to leave you with a quote that Will Smith says: every morning you have 2 choices. continue to sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them. I choose to wake up. Wake up. You're meant to be great. Go be great. As always, we appreciate you joining us today. Until next time, peace and love.